Hey love bugs, welcome back to another Tarot Lover Reviews. Today we are taking a look at the Tarot of the Divine created by Yoshiyoshitani. So if you have heard of this tarot deck, you've seen the box, or you did not know this deck even existed, hopefully this review and the flip through at the end helps you to decide on whether or not this tarot deck is right for you. Now, if you want to skip straight to the flip through, by all means, take a look at my description. I have broken out all of the suits into chapters to make it easier for you to locate where you'd like to start. But in the meantime, we are going to talk about all things Tarot of the Divine. We are going to take a look at the packaging, the guidebook, and the cards. So if you're interested in that information, stick around. If not, feel free to skip over to the flip through. So let's get into the packaging. So first things first, this is the front of the box, and you kind of get a hint as to the texture of the cards in this deck just based off of the texture on the box. If you did not know, you're going to know in a second. The tarot deck is linen textured. Now what that means is it's exactly how it sounds. If you were to look at a sheet and like a bed sheet, right? And you saw how all of the strands were woven into each other, that is the texture you get on these cards. You literally see what seems like fibers weaving in and out of each other within each of the cards. It makes for a great feel to hold on to these cards. I did not realize that I did not realize that there was such a thing as linen tarot cards. And I did not know that I would like it so much. So whenever a tarot deck comes out with a linen version, I like to pick those up because they definitely feel fantastic when I shuffle. So we'll get a little bit more into that in a bit, but let's get back to the box. Now the box opens like a book, okay? Pretty straightforward. On the interior, you get the ribbon here to help take your tarot cards out a lot easier. I'm sorry, I'm trying to say several words in one go. So yes, that is the box. The box is thick, which of course, if you've seen my other reviews, I absolutely love when a box has a thick outer part, the box, because I feel like if I accidentally drop that box, I know that my tarot cards are going to be well protected because the box itself will take the brunt of the force, right? So that's the box. Let's talk about the guidebook. The guidebook is pretty simple, okay? Back of the book, and you get, whoa, if I can hold it right, full color of all of the cards, and the descriptions are pretty straightforward. You get a small description, like a small little paragraph of that card and what it's depicting to give you some clarity on what you're seeing, especially when it's explaining the folklore that's behind it. So I'm going to get into that a little bit more as well. But this covers what part of the world that folklore comes from that's depicted on the card. And then kind of gives you a description about that card, what it's showing you, what it's meant to represent. And then you get upright and reversed keywords. It's not descriptions, but keywords. So the description itself is within the paragraph that you get above the keywords. And I think that's more than enough. The imagery, let's get into the cards. So that's your guidebook. Oh, I will mention one thing. You do get tarot spreads in the beginning of the guidebook. Here we go. You do get tarot spreads in the beginning of the guidebook, but they are not themed to this tarot deck, which is totally fine. just the fact that you get tarot spreads within the guidebook is greatly appreciated, especially if you are a brand new tarot reader. It helps to have those handy so you can kind of figure out what works for you. So that is the guidebook. Let's talk about the cards. Now, before I get further into the description, let's talk about the outer portion of the cards. This is the back of the cards, and you can see just with the glare of the sun, you can see the texture on those cards, right? And it feels fantastic, guys. I really love linen cards, but that is the back of the cards. And you can see there's a slight gloss, but with linen, you don't get gloss. It's matte. For sure, it's matte, but it definitely feels like you get a gloss with it as well. But for sure, it is matte finish because of the texture. The size is your standard tarot size. And just to kind of give you an idea, I think they might be a tad smaller than if we were to compare it to a Rider-Waite Smith tarot card. Oh no, they are exactly the same. Exactly the same. So they are your average tarot size. So 12 centimeters by 7 some odd centimeters. So that's the size. Cardstock, as I mentioned, linen. It's a little, because it's linen, it is a little bit on the thicker side than what you might be used to. So if it still makes for a great shuffle, but you feel the resistance a little bit more. So it falls into the Goldilocks zone of shuffles. So it makes for a great shuffle, but you do kind of get that resistance. So it's a little bit on the thicker side when you go to shuffle. If you need a visual of what I mean as far as the cardstock, I do this little C scale to where you have really thin paper-like cardstock. You have the Goldilocks zone, which makes for a great shuffle. Paper-like cardstock, you can like bend your cards like really far when you go to shuffle. That's paper-like cardstock. The Goldilocks zone is where you get a good bend, but it's not too ridiculous. That's your Goldilocks zone. And then you have the paper, not the paper, the thick cardstock, which makes for a very difficult shuffle if you are doing that poker style shuffle, right? You don't necessarily have to do it that way, but if you were to use that as an example when it comes to the cardstock, yeah, there are tarot decks out there that are really thick on the cardstock, and it is very difficult to shuffle. So that gives you a visual. This tarot deck falls on the Goldilocks zone, if not a little bit more into the thicker side. So if that helps in any way, I hope it does. But let's talk about the imagery and the naming convention. So when I say naming convention, what I'm talking about is comparing it to the standard Rider-Waite Smith tarot deck. I do that because a lot of the guidebooks out there are in reference to the Rider-Waite Smith imagery, naming convention. A lot of the other tarot decks out there that have been created, imagery is typically based off of the Rider-Waite Smith. I'm not saying that all of them are, because as you know, someone who's creating their tarot deck, they don't necessarily have to use the same naming convention. They don't necessarily have to use the same imagery, but they still have to kind of follow the tarot specifics, right? So comparing this tarot deck to the Rider-Waite Smith, the imagery is somewhat, it's the same, but with a twist, more to the theme of the folklore that they are representing. Okay, so you still get the vibe of what that imagery is representing. It's just with the twist of that particular folklore, which I absolutely love. You can kind of relate and understand exactly what that card is depicting on top of what that folklore is if you are familiar with that particular folklore. So I feel like it just adds that extra something to that particular card and to the tarot deck itself. It just adds that extra layer of amazingness, right? So that is the imagery. Definitely follows the Rider-Waite Smith imagery, but with the twist of the folklore within it. And the naming convention. I'm talking the suit names, the major arcana names. All the major arcana follows the Rider-Waite Smith naming convention. The minor arcana, so your pentacles, cups, wands, and swords. The only thing that's different is the pentacles. For pentacles, they actually name it cup, or not cups. I'm looking at the cups right here. So it's coins for pentacles, which is not uncommon. I do find that a lot of tarot decks will utilize coins as the suit instead of pentacles. Some people are very touchy with the word pentacles because of its association to other things, that some people don't necessarily like to use that. So I can understand, but yeah, that is the only difference with the minor arcana and the naming convention. Is the suit of pentacles is actually the suit of coins in this particular tarot deck. But all in all, I love and thoroughly enjoy this tarot deck. I was afraid when I was doing the flip through that the cards, because they're not super bent, they're bent because I've used them a lot, they look a little dirty, so I apologize because it's well loved. I've had this for years. Okay, guys, I am showing you tarot decks that I have in my collection, and I use majority of my tarot cards. So yes, they're going to have some love on them. So expect the wear and tear, right? But anyways, I hope that this has helped you in some way. If it has, feel free to like this video. Take a look at my channel and see if you find any other tarot decks that you might be interested in. If you don't find a tarot deck that you're interested in and you would like me to look into it and possibly do a review on it, comment below and let me know what that tarot deck is. You never know, I might already have the tarot deck and I just haven't done a video on it. I think I'm at 100 tarot decks now, guys. So I may have the tarot deck that you're looking for, but let me know in the comments, how many tarot decks do you have? And if there's a tarot deck that you're interested in taking a look at, let me know again and I will look into that. But without further ado, enjoy the flip through and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.